Hello fellow human, hope you guys have a great day and let's read some I don't work here lady stories to the first one. Well, at least you could read. So happened about a week ago. I had a meeting at work and was recently promoted, so I decided to wear a colored company shirt I bought a couple of years back with slacks and a nice set of professional shoes. My wife had given me a honey pickup list, so after the meeting, I stopped by at the America's favorite, 2 in every town, store Faldart. Now, it was a small list, 3 easily carried items, so I didn't even grab a cart or anything. As I'm moving through an aisle to grab the first thing, a sweet little old lady asked for my help reaching something on a top shelf. No problem, she asked nicely, and I'm tall, and I don't actually mind helping. My wife will actually see people having issues and volunteer me from time to time. It's all cool. As I hand it to her and she smiles, thanking me, I get a tap on the shoulder, one of those bony non-finger type of taps.
Hey, come with me. You need to take care of your employee.
Now, mind instantly realized I must look like a manager and Karen found me. Still, I'm sorry ma'am, but I don't work here.
I don't care if you're corporate or local. Follow me.
Oh, screw it, this could be fun. So I follow her, and a couple of aisles away is a lady tasked to do shopping for those online orders with 4 partially filled totes.
I can't find my crap and she won't show me where it is. You need to reprimand this employee.
Oh, poor employee tried to keep smiling despite looking so tired and fed up with life in general. Oh, ma'am, I'm sure she's just following the directions of her boss, but I don't work here. It does seem that you need some help though. Do you need my help? As I said that, I pulled down and straightened the chest of my shirt in case of wrinkles and pointed to the slogan under the company crest, helping individuals with disabilities in living independent and fulfilling lives. I really do love helping people and work for a company that works with people with mental and physical disabilities. She glanced down, got a confused look on her face, and looked back up at me, which I had been waiting for, extending one hand towards her. Ma'am, do you have staff or family here with you? Are you in need of assistance? She got red and started making a squeaky, choking noise. She then started looking really pissed but unsure of what to say. She finally clenched her jaw and just stormed off. I turned, showing my shirt to the actual employee and wished her a good day as she tried not to laugh. Sadly, I didn't see or hear anything else from the lady the rest of my visit. Oh, that was brilliant! Being kind and helpful and still managing to imply to the woman that she was mentally challenged. Well done! The second story. He's a customer and he's deaf. Had my roommate take me to Walmart last night. I was wearing average sign-friendly clothes. Dark shirt, blue button-up overshirt that was open, black swim short, no yellow vest indicating that I worked for the Mart of Walls. Completely secondhand. Some of you may recognize me from my account as I've posted more than wholesome stories on this subreddit. But I'm severely hard of hearing, so much so I claim to be deaf. I cannot hear women and children, completely silent. That is important to this story. A female manager at Walmart was apparently screaming and hollering at me for a solid 10 minutes before my roomie figured out WTF was going on and got me attention. He had told me, the manager that was screaming at me, that 1, I'm a customer, and 2, I'm deaf. The manager went as white as a sheet of paper and apologized profusely. The silver lining? $10 gift card for not even knowing that I was getting screamed at by a banshee. What I really want to know is what the hell made her think that you work there in the first place? The third story. I don't work here anymore. About 20 years ago, I worked at a big blue box store as a cashier. Signed up for holiday work and hung on for another 7 months. I always in the top 5 for speed and got the shifts I requested without any fuss. Along comes June, and my boyfriend, now husband, gets scheduled for knee surgery and got a job promotion is in the work, which would entail moving out of state. I take the first week of July's off for our daughter's birthday, my boyfriend's surgery, and the 4th. I'm off the schedule with no fanfare for the first week in July, and all is going to plan at home. Middle of July, I put in my 2 weeks notice so that I'd have a month to get the moving going. I spent the rest of July and August finding us a place to live in the new state, making arrangements for a rental truck, purging stuff at home, the usual things you do for a move. The beginning of August, I turn in my blue smock. I get a phone call at least once a week for the next month from the store asking where I was, that I was late for my shift. I remind them politely that I no longer work there and to remove me from the schedule. The first 2 weeks, I'm told no one turned my notice or noted me no longer working there, not even HR. And that if I don't come in, I will lose my job and no longer be able to work for them. They don't seem to understand that I quit. Then it's,
"Oh, so and so mess up and put you on, sorry."
we left at the beginning of September, all is good, or so I think. Then my sister calls from back home. She was my emergency contact for work. Guess who they called when it was discovered my phone was shut off? I called them. Long distance charges, so this is costing me money. Kids, this was before cell phone or free long distance, and once again, reminded them that I was no longer employed by them. The HR person who had started after I had left was insisting that she and I had met the other day about my schedule, and I needed to work it. Impossible, I tell her, because that day I was in XX state driving a U-Haul to YY state, and neither of those states were her state of ZZ. Besides which, I had quit the month before, and she apologized and hung up. This went on for another 2 months before she finally told my sister that I was ineligible to work for the big blue box store ever again because of failing to show for my shifts for the last 4 months. It took Big Box Store 4 months to fire me for not working there. In December, she called my sister and asked if I could pick up some holiday shifts. Oh, face palm! Well, they sound like a crazy ex who was in denial about the breakup and had a hard time of letting you go. The 4th story. Lady gets pissed I can't help her feed her starving children. Ah, screw it. I'm bored. I've got one of these to tell. I used to work at this Christmas wreath place. I was in charge of cutting down trees and throwing them in the back of a pickup truck in minus 20-degree Fahrenheit, Mother Ducking, Wisconsin. The work was fine, but obviously that meant wearing like 3 sweaters, gloves, boots, the whole getup. One day when I was driving to work, I decided to stop by this one store I like to go to. They had really good off-brand Red Bulls and I was going on about 30 minutes worth of sleep. As I'm walking over, sleep deprived and pissed off, a woman in her 40s cuts me off looking equally pissed. Woman,
"Where are the graham cookies?"
I stared at her, ducking dumbfounded, like hell if I know. Me, no idea.
Woman, "Well, can you get me some who does?"
Me, no. And that set her off. She looked like the Red Booba from that kid's show in the early 2000s. That was, and still is, the absolute fastest I have ever pissed someone off. She told me about how she's been here for over half an hour and how her kids are waiting at home starving. Like, really? And how much of an idiot I was and how she wanted to speak to my manager, and this is when I realized this crazy tramp thinks I work here. People at this point are just staring, and I'm just done with all of this. So as soon she stops for breath, I interrupt her. Me, "Woman, I don't ducking work here." And suddenly her entire demeanor changes. She stutters and looks at me all confused.
Woman, "Oh, I just thought, are you going to the freezer?"
Me, like, what? I'm just trying to buy some drinks and go to work. She immediately looks embarrassed, which I gotta say was pretty damn satisfying.
Woman, "Wow, you look like one of those people who work in the freezer, so I thought you were an employee."
Me, "No, tramp, Jesus Christ." And that was it. I just kept walking. Still pisses me off how she literally switched personalities as soon as she realized I was an employee she could yell at with no repercussions. Retail is screwed. Well, the good news is that at least she didn't keep yelling at you, insisting you're an employee. The 5th story. Get off your break and help me. So, my grandmother works at a hospital in the cafeteria. She always leaves early and sometimes will stop at a gas station beforehand to satisfy her unyielding thirst for a Pepsi. She grabbed one of those big bottles of the soda, hoping it would take off the edge of the bad day she knew she'd have. Then got into line, making sure to stand 6 feet away and wearing her mask correctly over her face, her 2 gloved hands carefully handling her prized soda. All of a sudden, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to say, "Please, stay 6 feet away from me," when Karen decides to interrupt her. Karen,
"Ma'am, maybe you should go to do your job so I don't have to wait in line. Your break can wait."
My grandma, I don't work here.
Karen, "Yes, you do. Just because you're on a break doesn't mean you cannot help me."
My grandma, I don't work here. She then pulled out her hospital badge and shoved it in the Karen's face, and if someone's on a break, it's a break, and doesn't mean that they have to bend over and wipe your butt. Now, let me get my ducking Pepsi and get the duck away from me. The Karen stood shocked, and my grandma went, bought her Pepsi, and left. Later that night, she called me to tell me, and I couldn't stop laughing. I explained the whole Karen thing to her, and she said, well, that tramp was one. Since the quarantine started, the hospital she works at has been really working her hard because not everyone wants to work the pandemic. Thankfully though, almost all the patients that go there are recovering from the COVID. Oh, this grandma doesn't take any crap off Karen. The sixth story, how much do you make a week? This is a story that my dad witnesses 30 or 40 years ago. He worked at a grocery store and the owner was a real piece of crap. Would yell at the staff on the store floor, or if he didn't like a display, he would destroy it by throwing the boxes of cereal on the floor and make them stack the way that he wanted. One day, a young man came in that worked at a hardware store a few buildings down. They wore aprons like the store staff, but a totally different color and style. It was the guy's break, and he was just looking for something for lunch. The store owner sees this and gets madder and madder as this guy is just lazily walking around. Finally, he can have no more of this and runs up to guy. Oh, how much do you make a week? And he responds, 25 bucks. The owner opens his wallet and hands him a 50 bucks and says, never come back and you're fired, and storms off. Guy's like, I don't work here, but the owner has already stormed off. What a bizarre experience for that kid. But wait, he's not a kid anymore. That was like 30 years ago. The seventh story, manager fired his worker. Time to have some fun. A brief background. A Middle Eastern who live in the United Arab Emirates in the capital of Abu Dhabi. I'm a local, but I don't look like it, as my mother is from Egypt, and I would get mistaken for another nationalities often. On to the story. My niece got a new pet about a month ago from one of her friends, a 5-month-old German Shepherd, and she's the cutest thing ever in my opinion. Unfortunately, the friend didn't bring enough food for the puppy, so I went the next day to a hypermarket nearby to buy some for her. I was told she liked a particular brand, so I decided to go inside without a cart or basket to see if they had it, then go back out for a cart. On my way to the pet food aisle, I heard shouting and yelling from close by, and out of curiosity, I went to check it out. I saw one of the workers and a wild Karen. While she didn't look like a Karen, she sure as hell acted like one, screaming at the poor guy about how incompetent and rude he is, and ignoring her when she was trying to get his attention. And of course, she was yelling for a manager. And that's when she turned around and locked eyes with me and made a beeline to where I was. Now, keep in mind that the worker's uniform is a yellow or light blue shirt with hypermarket name on it in big letters. And the managers wear full suits. I was wearing black jeans and a dark blue shirt. Also, a majority of the staffs were either from India or the Philippines. Now, for the cast, OL, obnoxious lady, PW, poor worker, M, manager, me, yours truly. OL, you, the manager, and this employee of yours was very rude to me. He ignored me when I was trying to get his attention for 10 minutes and is refusing to help me and yelled at me. I want him fired. The first thought that came to mind was to tell her that I didn't work there, but after seeing the condition PW was in, I decided to have some fun. Now, my English has a good American accent, but I also have a fairly decent Indian accent. So without hesitation, I switched my accent to Indian mode. Me. Oh, I'm so sorry, madam. We have had many complaints about this problem worker. Oh, don't worry. I will discipline him. And as a form of apology, please go about your shopping and at the cashier, just give them my name, Roger Patel, and tell them I approved a 40% discount on the total sum for you. Oh well, at least management knows how to treat paying customer. I went to PW, grabbed his arm, and started walking away, berating him along the way until we made a turn and we were out of sight of OL. And that's when the PW said, "Am I in trouble?" It seems that PW was also new and also mistook me for a manager, and he thought he was going to be fired. Oh, poor guy. Me, laughing. Oh, I'm not a manager, and you're not in any kind of trouble. I just want to get you away from her. And I walked away waving goodbye at him. I grabbed a card and went on to buy my puppy her chow and some other things for her, some toys, a new collar, a leash, and a comfy bed, and some other items for myself. After I grabbed what I needed, I made my way to the cashier, then that's when I heard a familiar screaming and yelling. And sure enough, there was OL, arguing with one of the cashiers and an actual manager, trying to convince them that she was allowed the huge discount on all her items, a full cart's worth, while I was laughing on the inside. Then she spotted me, pointed at me, and yelled,
OL, that's him! That is Roger Patel, the manager who approved my discount!
The manager and the cashier both looked at me with confusion in their eyes, and the manager said, Ma'am, this gentleman doesn't work here.
OL, oh yes he does! Why else would he give me the discount? He was even disciplining one of your workers!
M and OL made their way to me, and I acted like I didn't know what was going on. M, pointing at OL, excuse me, sir, do you know this lady? Me, switching on my American accent, no, I've never seen this woman before.
OL, you're lying! I talked to you about that lazy rude worker of yours, and you gave me a discount as an apology.
Me, oh lady, do I look like I work here? I'm a customer, just like you. It was at that moment PW walked by. OL pointed at him and said,
There, that's the worker that I complained about to this manager.
Manager called PW over and asked him, have you seen the gentleman as the lady before? PW looked at me and OL and said, no sir, I haven't.
OL, oh don't lie, I was talking to you 30 minutes ago when you refused to help me.
PW, madam, this is the first time I'm seeing you or this gentleman. Maybe you have confused me with another worker. The manager nodded and told PW to go back to his work, and as PW walked away, he looked at me with a smile and a thumbs up, which on one saw. OL was fuming with a face that was redder than a ripe tomato. I turned to the manager, me. Sir, you're obviously wearing a suit like all other managers working here, and I'm wearing a casual. So who in their right mind would confuse a customer with a worker or manager? Manager, in an agreeing nod. Oh, sorry to disturb you, sir. Have a nice day. I nodded back, paid for my items, walked away, with OL still screaming and cussing until M ended up calling security to escort her out of the building. And I went home with a puppy chow, the rest of her stuff, and the biggest grin on my face. So is this why Karens always think people are lying to them? Because in one of the stories, someone actually did. Oh, how dare you. Now they will never stop. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.